So I'm a father. My baby was less than a year old. And what happened was I started saying to her, Dada, Dada. That's like in her face, I'm like, Dada. Say my name, I'm Daddy. So she started saying, Dada, which pissed my wife off royally. You know what I mean? And I always tell her, like, yo, I am definitely her favorite parent. You know what I mean? So he says, Dada all the time. So I was doing something where I was mimicking her. Like, I was like, ah, and she'd say, ah. And we had like a whole conversation where I'm like, ah. And she'd be like, ah. And I'm like, ah, ah, ah. And she's like, ah. Right? So she's following me. Now she does this thing where I go like this. And she does. Like she's doing like everything I do, she's following. It's really, really cool. Actually, the other day, I'm gonna get to the point, but she takes my hat, right? She's 9 months at this point. She takes my hat and just like lifts it up. And she's actually like trying to put my hat on backwards. She ain't got the dexterity. Is that the word? She don't have like you know what I mean? She can't really actually like pick up the hat and put it on. But she's like, and she like dropped it on her head. I'm like, yo, she's following everything that I do. As I was growing up, I went off to college. And my favorite drink, I love orange juice. And the orange juice that I would get when I went off to college was Great Value. But do you know why I got Great Value orange juice? That's the only orange juice my mom would buy me growing up. So I would buy Great Value. And I tricked myself thinking that that's delicious. Now, it's really comparable to the orange juice that's concentrate you see in the freezer. You put that in the freezer, which I used to buy that stuff. So it's in the freezer, you dump it in a little joint, you add water, and you like mash it up. That orange juice was delicious too. However, somebody like introduced me to Simply Orange when I was in college. They're like, yo, this is the good stuff. I'm like, I tasted it. I'm like, it ain't better than Great Value. Then I made this whole argument on how things that cost more aren't necessarily better. So I continue to drink Great Value. But then I realized as I got older, I started making a little more money. I was like, oh, let me try the Simply Orange juice. Now I see how bad Great Value is. The thing is, my parents taught me that the things that are least expensive are just as good as the things that are more expensive. But I have a realization now, when you go to Walmart and get a hoodie, it doesn't feel the same as a Louis hoodie or a Balenciaga hoodie or something like that. It's not just a price. It's not just a status. It's a difference in quality and material. Also, one thing that I picked up, when I was working my job, I used to use phrases like, man, this whole check gonna be going by Monday. Because I remember talking to my mom, every time she get paid on Friday, she would complain that, yes, I got paid, but this thing's gonna be going by Monday. And I started to live that lifestyle, not knowing that I am modeling my parents. Here's what I'm asking you to do. And I'm asking myself to do it too. If you had children or aunts, nieces, nieces, little cousins, things of that nature, be mindful that they're watching you. I had some little cousins where, they're around me while I'm building my t-shirt brand, my Sleepers for Suckers t-shirt brand. And they're like, for years, they would pack shirts and all that, like little kids, like 9, 10 years old. And they used to say things like, man, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start a business. And that will be our conversations. You have to be very mindful that whatever you do and anything that your kids do or the people that look up to you, anything that you do, they are going to pick that up. Meaning, if your kids grow up and live paycheck to paycheck, it's probably because you did it. If it's really easy for your kids to give up on stuff, it's probably because mommy starts a business and she stops it. Mommy starts this little business and she does it for a little while and stops. So your kids grow up inconsistent. Or your kid sees daddy always got a new girlfriend. Well, they grow up. That was funny, Joe. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm trying to use examples. I'm trying to be relatable. You know what I mean? But anyway, be very careful. You have no idea who's watching you. Just how my daughter is going to be modeling what I say, she's also going to be modeling what I do. So even in our conversation, I'm being very mindful not to let her see that I'm frustrated with her because she's a baby. And it's easy to be frustrated, like, baby, come on, like, stop crying, instead of loving on her. And I don't want her to get impatient. I don't want to grow up impatient or getting frustrated at small things or being mad at things you can't control because I can't control my daughter crying. My point is, be very mindful if you have kids or people that you look up to, that they're modeling you. So now you're not only living for yourself, you're living for the people who see you. All right? Dorito Dave.